On today's episode of Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites, Primal Nosh is going to show us how to make branchus fish tacos. Stick around and find out how it's done.
Welcome to Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
Hey, I'm John Scanlon, and this is Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites. Today we have a very special guest on here. We got Primal Nosh, and we got chefs Diane Hackey and Ellie Updike. And they're going to show us how to make their delicious branchus fish tacos. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
We're excited.
So, all right, where do we start?
Where do we start? All right, so today we're making branchus fish tacos. There are 4 components to this dish. We have our fish. We're going to make a pico de gallo. We're going to make homemade tortillas that will be gluten-free and paleo-friendly. And we are going to make a white sauce to go over top of the tacos. So I'll turn it over to LA. She's going to make the pico.
Wonderful.
And we'll switch.
Well, we're going to start off with some diced tomatoes. And I like to visually do this. Depending on how much onion you want, we're going to cut it in half, cut off the top, and peel it back some. I won't be using this whole onion. I mean, if you look at it, that's a lot of onion. So, but we are going to use it somewhere else. I like to dice my onion this way. I'll make slits across, and I don't go all the way through, but I did that time. Score it together, and then we'll chop it.
You make that look incredibly easy.
It's all practice. Practice makes perfect. And when it gets too hard to handle, don't cut your fingers, lay it on its head, okay? Ooh, that's a strong onion. It's going to make me cry. Now we're going to grab a bowl and put our onions in a bowl. Gravity is the law. I'm only going to use half of these onions because I only have so much onion to tomato. Go and push that aside. I'll use that somewhere else. It's going to take a lime. What I like to do is I like to roll the lime first to get it moving. Cut it in half. And we'll squeeze it. You want to do this to your palate because you're the one who's eating it, so it's your palate is what really matters. So when we do salt and pepper, I don't use exact measurements because I'm going to do it to my palate. And I don't like a lot of salt. Okay, we got that squeezed. It's beautiful. A little bit of salt on the tomato. Some pepper. Some garlic. I like a lot of garlic. First I like to, with the back end of my knife, crush it. And I like a lot of garlic in my pico. We'll go back and chop it. And if you're having a problem with garlic sticking to your knife, like I am right now, put a little bit of salt on your garlic.
That's pretty neat.
You like that?
Yeah.
I did not know that trick either.
I got tricks.
We all learned something new today.
And I'm just going to I don't like a lot of chunks in it. It'll wake you up. A little bit of jalapeno. You could, if you don't like it very spicy, you can take the seeds out. But I do like a little bit of heat. It's true. So I left the seeds in for myself. And I like to have the same amount of garlic as I do pepper. Just because, there we go. I'll put it back on top and one more pass with the knife. Nobody likes a big piece of garlic. Put that in the bowl. So in the bowl so far we have tomatoes, onion, garlic, jalapeno. So it's got the salt. I'm going to put a little pepper. And it's beautiful. A little bit of lime juice. Just 2 to 4 tablespoons, just because you want a little bit of acidity to get it moving. And of course, you need a little bit of some kind of oil just a little splash. It's not necessary, but the best thing about oil is it moves all those flavors on your tongue. So it keeps it from being one-dimensional. It'll have several dimensions to it. And it's a nice toss.
So is that a whole tomato you had in there, or is that
We forgot the herbage.
I think that was a whole tomato. It was about a cup of tomato, so if you have a whole medium tomato, it should be enough. So I think so far what we have in there is a whole medium tomato diced. You can even do a large tomato. A quarter of about a medium-sized red onion diced. I think there were 4 cloves of garlic, but of course you can add more or less depending on your palate. About half of a jalapeno, again, same thing, more or less. You could leave it out if you want to. And she's chopping up cilantro. It's a couple tablespoons of cilantro. And then, of course, the juice of 1 lime.
you can really smell that cilantro? I love
Yeah,
that
oh, yeah.
smell.
I always like to add that herb in last, the cilantro, just so it keeps its color.
It's beautiful.
And it's beautiful, and that is a beautiful pico de gallo.
And that pico's done, man.
Well, the pico is ready, and we're going to move on to the taco sauce. Diane?
We'll switch. All right, I'm going to show you how to make a homemade mayonnaise. This is probably my favorite thing to teach people because you can use it for so many different things. And I'm going to show you how to do it with a mason jar and an immersion blender. If you don't have an immersion blender, I highly recommend investing in one. These things are amazing. So it's very simple. You need 1 egg, a cup of olive oil. Make sure you're always using extra light tasting olive oil or it'll give you a funky taste. You can also use avocado oil. You need an acid. So for this, we're going to use more lime juice. You could also use a lemon. That's my preferred when I'm making an aioli. So you just crack your egg into your mason jar. Now, if you're worried about salmonella or any of that, you can purchase Davidson's pasteurized eggs. I know all of the Publixes in town sell them. So for each egg, you need 1 cup of olive oil. And you just pour it into your jar. Some people like to add the acid along with it. I always add it after. For me, I have an easier time making my emulsion whenever the only thing in my jar is an egg and the olive oil. So just stick your blender down at the bottom and turn it on. It should start to thicken. And then slowly pull it up. But when you're done, it should be nice and thick. I'm going to take this out just for a second and show you. It's not swirling around the jar like it was before. So now for the rest of our fish taco sauce, I actually don't need this much mayonnaise. I need about half a cup. And, oh, that's what I think what I'd pulled this out for. So I'm going to pour about half a cup of mayonnaise out. I'm going to leave the rest in the mason jar. Oh, I'm going to keep that mason jar.
Okay, I'll leave it over here.
Squeeze our lime. I didn't roll it like LA did. I should have because it's not wanting to come out.
That's the first time I've seen anybody roll a lime like that.
I
see a
usually
difference.
do, but yeah, it helps a lot. Lemons aren't as bad, but limes can be finicky. So we have half a cup of mayonnaise in here, juice from 1 lime. Now, if you're following a paleo style diet, if you're watching this, you can skip the sour cream. There are some sour cream paleo recipes out there, but we're just gonna, a lot when we're cooking at home for ourselves, just kind of like to guesstimate. So about half a cup of sour cream. Set that out of the way. A pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, a little dash of cumin. If I can open it, we'll just. And then you taste test it. See if anything needs to be added. Oh, that's good. I think we're good. And then what I really like about making sauces this way is, 1, if you can find an immersion blender that detaches, it's pretty much the only thing you have to clean. 2, if you don't use all your sauce, you put a lid on it and stick it back in the refrigerator. You can use it for about a week, if not longer. I make dressings, everything. Love it. So we're done with the mayo and the pico. Now let's move on to the taco shells and the fish. All right, for the taco shells, they're very simple. We use 4 ingredients. Cassava flour, which is paleo friendly. It's gluten-free if you're following a gluten-free diet. It is not necessarily low carb though, so if you're on a keto diet, these aren't gonna help you out, I'm sorry. They need water, salt, and light tasting olive oil or avocado oil. You'll take a cup of the cassava flour. With this recipe, you'll get about 8 normal sized taco shells. I got almost a cup. 8 average size, I should say. Add a pinch of salt. Mix your cassava and your salt. And then you're gonna go 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And then you'll need a half cup to a cup of water. Add it about a tablespoon at a time. I'm gonna add a few until I get down to about 1/4 of a cup.
Now, why is that?
Just so it doesn't get too moist. So you want it to, if it's too moist, it won't hold. And then just give it a stir. So it's not really binding together. You should be able to get a nice big chunk. So I'm gonna add another, probably 2 tablespoons of oil would be okay. Mix it up. I think I can add a couple more. All right, this should be good. Yeah. No. It might seem a little liquidy at first, but if you give it a good mix. So I think that I ended up with about a half a cup there. But you may need more. I don't know why, if you're in a different altitude maybe, or if you buy a different brand of cassava flour, who knows? Or if your 1 cup measure is a little bigger than mine. All right.
It should feel like Play-Doh, right?
Yeah, so it's holding a ball. It's not too wet, and it's not really sticking to my hands anymore either. So yeah, it's kind of like Play-Doh. And then you'll break it into, you can make 8 tacos with this if you're doing an average taco size. So I'm gonna break it in half, break it in half again, get my 8 little taco shells. So we've got 4. All right, roll it into a ball. Get a couple of them going. And then if you have a taco press at home, you can use that. If you don't, before I purchased one of these, I just took a pan and smashed it. So there's a few, or you can flatten it with your hands. You'll want 2 sheets of parchment paper, cut it, 1 on the bottom, lay your taco shell down, 1 on the top, and you flatten it. It is a little tricky to work with in the parchment paper. It might rip, but once you cook it, it's very easy to work with. It's not like a corn tortilla where they kind of fall apart, which is another reason I like these. So I have medium heat going here. You want a dry pan, no oil. And slowly peel your shell. And you're gonna cook it for about 2 minutes on each side. So while that one's cooking, I'm gonna press a couple more.
That bag of cassava flour, about how many will it do on average?
How many taco shells will it make?
Yeah.
So 1 cup makes, I don't know, I did the math on this the other day. There's 1 cup makes 8, and there are 28 quarter cups in that bag according to the serving sizes. I don't know what's the math on that. So you can get 2 balls per quarter cup, so 48 per bag. Now the cassava is a little on the pricey side. But one of those bags will last you quite some time. I've baked all sorts of things with it, so it is about, I think, like $19 for a bag, but it will stretch. So once you'll see it, it'll kind of start to bubble a little bit. All right, so when it starts to bubble, you want to flip it, and this one's starting to get a little bubble, so we'll go ahead and flip it over.
So it's like pancakes.
Yeah. All right, so after about 2 minutes on each side, you can pull your taco off. It might brown, it might not, but that's okay, and you can see it's pretty tough. So I'm gonna keep banging out these taco shells while LA gets started on the fish.
Fish tacos are great because you can multitask. While she's doing the tortillas, this pico is coming together and getting happy, all those flavors. We've preheated this cast iron skillet so it's nice and hot. And I'm gonna go ahead and cook some fish for fish tacos. We get our fish from Joe Patty's. This is flounder. Oh, excuse me, John. With the fish, I look at the seasoning. We're gonna use Slap Your Mama. We love Slap Your Mama seasoning, don't we? Just a little bit on each side. And then we're going to flip it. And come behind you. A little bit of oil. Now, my cast iron skillet has oil on it, but I also like to put a little bit of oil on this fish. And let's pray it doesn't stick, but it is cast iron. So I'm just going to let it, a little more seasoning. What do you think? How do you like yours?
Spicy.
Spicy.
Let's add some more Slap Your Mama.
Slap Your Mama.
You want me to help?
Yes, dear.
Okay. Yeah, I like mine nice
I
and
like, yeah.
blackened.
You like some flavor to it.
You can use whatever your favorite blackening seasoning is, though.
It's beautiful. She likes it. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on the skillet. And this one can only probably handle one fillet at a time. It's over here. And it's on medium. Be on medium. Okay. And you don't want to mess with the fish once you put it down. That's the biggest mistake everybody makes, is they mess with the fish and it falls apart. So I'm going to let it cook halfway. Let it cook halfway and before I flip it to finish it. So,
About how long per side usually?
it depends on the thickness of the fish and the kind of fish it is. This being flounder, it's going to take 5 to 7 to 10 minutes, depending. 10 minutes being way more than we need to.
Is that per side or is that total?
Total.
Okay.
Total. I'm probably going to give it 4 minutes on each side.
Okay.
And we're not going to do the turn thing, since we're just going to chop it up and put it in tacos anyway. But I prefer using a cast iron skillet when I do meat, because it gives it that nice brown color that we're all looking for when we eat meat.
Little baby taco. All right.
So this whole meal is fresh. It is
Yep.
made from scratch. Truly, it's
Yeah. You could probably make this meal, I'd say 30 minutes or less. I mean, the tacos are really easy. They might be the most time-consuming part just because you have to wait for them to cook. But really throwing the pico together, seasoning your fish. If you wanted to save some extra time, instead of watching the fish on the stove, you could also just throw it in the oven and bake it for, about 7 to 10 minutes. Yeah, it's easy and it's delicious. And then I always buy store-bought coleslaw, especially when I'm making it at home. It's just easy to top it with, so you get that little bit of crunch, and you don't have to do anything.
well, while the fish is going and you're making the tacos, you guys are located. Primal Nosh is 3810 Brancas Avenue.
Yes.
All your stuff is to go, correct?
We're mostly delivery based. You order online at primalnosh.com. We have 2 separate menus available, one for Sunday delivery and one for Wednesday delivery. Our Sunday delivery menu is primal based. We offer 7 different menu items and we change it every single week, often with 2 to 3 brand new items that we've never featured before, so we're constantly changing it up. Our Wednesday delivery menu has vegan, keto, and low FODMAP meals, 3 of each, that you can order, and those are delivered on Wednesday. Same thing. We change it every week, so you're not eating the same thing all the time. And then we do have a grab and go location. It has limited hours, but you can stop by during the week to pick up your meals. We're open Monday from 10:30 to 6:30, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, as of right now, from 10:30 to 2.
And so y'all are all, this is all healthy meals, healthy on the go. If someone's busy, y'all do a lot of stuff with sports, athletes, I assume.
Yeah, people, I mean, we have people from all over the place to order. So athletes who want to eat healthy and don't have time to cook for themselves, busy parents who, you know, might be feeding their kids, but they don't want to eat mac and cheese every night, but they also don't want to be cooking 2 separate meals. I even know people who follow a healthy style diet, but the rest of their family doesn't. So they'll order the meal so that they have something to eat while their family is eating something else. Busy people who are like, after a full day at work, they don't want to come home to their second job, which is making dinner.
And we also have recently widowed.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Or people who are just can't get to a grocery store for delivery, because we deliver the food. Like elderly who are shut in, this is a great service for them.
Absolutely.
or I mean, you know, people who don't know how to cook, people who are trying to eat healthier and don't know where to start. So we try to cover all the bases. Now, a lot of people do ask, you know, they're concerned because we're primal based. They're like, I don't follow that style diet. You know, will I like the food? It is gluten-free. We do follow strict guidelines when it comes to what we allow into our food, but we try to make everything taste delicious. So even though it's healthy and it does follow certain dietary guidelines, we don't want you to feel like that's what you're eating. So we hope that everything tastes so good that you don't notice it. All right, the fish is done. We're pulling off our last taco shell, so we will go ahead and plate a couple up. I'll take a shell with a little cooler. If you have a little taco stand at home, those are really fun, but if you don't, that's okay too. All right. I'm actually gonna break this fish up just a little bit so it's nice and flaky.
I love the color of that flounder. That's an awesome job. I like.
Now all of these tacos are feeding the cameramen and women.
Yeah!
They're doing the real work here.
Quality control.
Yeah. All right, load it up with fish. I like to put my heavier toppings on the bottom. I don't know, how do you do it?
I like it in my mouth.
Put your coleslaw, top it with pico, and drizzle with sauce, and that is it. Make a couple of them.
That looks delicious.
Oh, I'm excited. These have been a huge hit in my house recently. We'll have to come back and make enchiladas for you guys.
Yeah, we like that. Now, is this on the menu at Primal Nosh?
It isn't, but it may be soon. We actually just discovered this taco shell recipe. So, actually, by the time this video comes out, it might have been on the menu.
So you can follow the recipe at coastalcooking.com. Then maybe go by and try it from the pros at Primal Nosh.
Yeah. Oop. And then if you want to get really fancy, you can chop up some more cilantro and garnish with that.
This has so much flavors.
Oh yeah, it's got a lot going on.
I just love the fact that everything's made from scratch. I mean, it's pretty incredible, and it was quick.
And it's healthy. So it's kind of guilt-free eating.
So there we go. Barranca Street Fish Tacos.
It looks delicious. Thank you guys for being on the show. Make sure you check them out, Primal Nosh at 3810 Barrancas Avenue.
Come see
Or at
us.
primalnosh.com. Or on Facebook at Primal Nosh.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
This has been Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.